Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy Siskin. I'm the author of Playing Solo Jazz Piano, and I'm the author of the Jazz Piano Fundamentals series. Can't spell fundamentals without fun. And speaking of fun, I got a great question recently in my YouTube comments. By the way, if you guys ever have something you're wondering, if I put it in the comments, if I can help you with it, I will. Some things I don't know about, but the things that I do know about, I'll try to help you. And so the question was, how do you comp on a ballad when playing in a group? And this is something that I was never actually taught as a student. And that I'm not aware of many jazz books covering. And I almost forgot to cover it in my books. But in Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 2, in Units 10 and 11, there's two parts on comping in ballads that answer, hopefully, or start to answer the question of my subscriber, hopefully, watcher, commenter. And so I want to look at those, and it's actually very poignant for me, very relevant for me, because I just got done, and this is just 100% here to brag, but I just recorded with Arturo Sandoval in a quartet setting, an album that's all ballads. It should be coming out in December, and it made me really self-conscious, as recording does, about how do I comp on ballads. So let's dive into the book a little bit, and I'm going to give you, I'm sure, some additional tips that were coming to mind during the session as well. So again, this is from Jazz Piano Fundamentals, Book 2, the purple book, Unit 10. For those of you following along at home, this is page 208. And so I would say the first thing about comping on ballads is that you don't need very much syncopation, right? Comping on a swing tune or a bossa nova is really all about hitting those offbeats. Part of what you're doing is you're emphasizing the syncopation. You're creating counter rhythms that are going to contribute to that feeling of swing. On a ballad, that's really not necessary, right? Ballads, we want to be smooth, and we want to put the emphasis on the melody. So, your first step, comping on a ballad, is literally just playing long notes. Okay, so the voicings presented here are as though you're playing left hand only to Misty. Right, and if I were doing it with a group, my left hand's playing the bass. So I'm literally just holding the chord as the chord changes. Playing the downbeat, playing beat 3 if the chord changes on beat 3. Now, I do like adding a little bit of pedal on ballads. The key with pedal is to lift it often. Here, the pedal can help you connect between chords, but it's a little bit more about creating a sense of atmosphere rather than connection. If you're just playing totally dry, it's fine, but to me it lacks a little bit of that extra warmth that you get if you've got the pedal down, the dampers open in the piano. So the next step, or one possible next step, is to add some element of pulse. Okay. Now, I think people can agree or disagree about how necessary this is, but pulsing, by which I mean repeating in quarter notes, one note or some part of the chord, can sustain the chord a little bit longer, right? We're not like a string or brass instrument where we can keep bowing on a string instrument or we can keep blowing in a brass instrument to make the sound sustain. So what you don't want to do is to pound quarter notes with the whole chord. You don't want to go... Right, that's obviously ugly. In a jazz context, it actually is probably what we would really want to do. a rock context. But repeating one note or maybe two notes some of the time can be a really nice touch. It has to be really, really light. It just keeps the sound moving a little bit more so that it's not just hold. So you could pick your spots. Sometimes that's something I'll do on the bridge of a ballad to make it move more. If I'm comping in a group, so here I'm actually repeating with my inner fingers. So that's can definitely work for you. And then a next step, I forget how much I say about it here, is adding space. Okay, so here's an example. I'm skipping around a little bit, but we can delay a chord, for example, to the end of one. And what's kind of nice about this is it creates a little phrase, ba da, right? There's this kind of leading to there sort of feeling about it. And these can be bigger spaces. I think people make the error in all comping and even in ballad comping that you need to play every chord. You could also use a quarter rest and then a quarter note. So let me play this example. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm gonna do a quarter rest. Let me pulse these. Right, so I'm just creating a little bit of variety. I'm taking this just held, these held voicings as my basis, and then I'm varying from there by pulsing or by adding in a little bit of space. Watch me, I'm also going to just leave out the B flat minor chord this time. Let's see if it works. 2, 3, 4, 1. Totally cool. I'm gonna leave out the D flat 7 chord. Okay, so that helps it be a little bit less predictable. Now, if you do want to add motion, there's really a lot of information in this next section, but let's focus on this double staff, this grand staff here. So the probably easiest and most effective way to add motion is to play inversions of your voicings, taking the same 4 or 5 notes, for this voicing, but putting the bottom note on top so that you're not just sitting there pulsing the same chord again and again, but maybe you're creating a little bit of okay, that would probably be too much if I actually did it like that. But listen, and I'll let you see my hands if I go. Hear me make that inversion. 2 B flat minors. Now, this isn't on the on in this book, I don't think. Maybe it's somewhere. But sometimes it's also nice to emphasize an eighth note pulse. So what am I doing? I'm using mostly my left hand pinky. I'm playing a really basic note here. Since we're in the key of E flat, I'm using an E flat. Now, I'm not going to go over all of this, but if you do have the book, or if you want to get the book and you're interested, this covers some ways that you can actually move the chord, that you can make some differences between the chord using things like common tone diminished, moving non-alter tones to alter tones, suspensions to create color. So that's all there for the taking. And then I want to head over to Unit 11 and just talk briefly about adding some color, particularly using upper structures. Okay, so this is a relatively big branch of ballad comping. So I'm not going to go in detail to what upper structures are. They're chords that can be found within a chord. And one place that you can listen and hear a lot of upper structures used in ballad comping is McCoy Tyner comping for John Coltrane on the album Ballads. He uses a lot of upper structures. How do we use those upper structures? Generally, we're putting them in the right hand, and we're putting them in different inversions. So, for instance, if I'm playing a C7, I might play kind of my basic notes of a C7 down here, E, B flat, D flat, the third, seventh, and then flat 9. And then I'll choose an upper structure here. Let's choose A flat major triad. Okay, so my left hand doesn't have to move. But that right hand's starting to create really interesting color just by playing a triad in different inversions. Right. Maybe I can move through two different upper structures, A flat major and G flat major. You know, and sometimes I might repeat the left-hand chord with the upper structure, sometimes I might not. Or I could do more interesting things with the upper structure, and this is covered in the book. I call this interlocking fifths and sixths. I've talked about this in some videos, but I could, you know... I could do some more interesting things. Now, this has already been a lot of information. Before I wrap up, I want to say one more thing, which is that really, really the most important thing is tone on the piano, right? If you are playing all kinds of great notes, especially on a ballad, if you're playing heavy-handed at all, if you're playing with a less than pretty sound, it's really going to ruin the effect, even if you're playing the most beautiful things. So really concentrating on the sounds, the sonics that you're making at the instrument is completely crucial, especially in a ballad context. All right, thank you for watching. If you like this, then obviously Jazz Piano Fundamentals Book 2 is the place to find this stuff. Again, Units 10 and 11 is where this precise material is at. There's more to explore. It talks about playing melodies in ballads and playing bell tones and using the entire register of the piano. So there's a lot to see. Thank you for watching. If you've watched this far, I don't know, say something about I'm really blanking. Say something about a ballad. Name your favorite ballad. There you go. Name your favorite ballad. All right, bye, everybody.